Hi, I'm Dr. Martin Simpson. This is another in a series of videos to help you improve your writing. Today we're talking about a topic that it really helps people kill a lot of birds with one stone in terms of improving their writing, and that is writing in active sentence structures instead of passive ones. All right, we'll start with some quick definitions. In an active sentence structure, the agent of the sentence, or the verb in the sentence, is also the subject of the sentence. So the grammatical subject is also the agent who's doing the main verb action. Let's start with a simple example. He hit the ball. He is the subject grammatically, hit is the verb, the ball is the direct object. In this case, he is the subject, he is also the agent who's doing the hitting. Okay? These are called active because the subject is active. The subject of the sentence is actually doing something. So the subject is the agent. All right? There are two types of passive structures. Number one, the agent is missing. And this example would be the ball was hit. Okay? Now, first point to make is passive sentences are not necessarily grammatically wrong. There's some stylistic weaknesses we'll talk about in a second, but they can be grammatically correct. In this case, the ball was hit is a complete sentence. The ball is the subject, was hit is the verb. But what you notice is there's no agent. We don't know who's doing the hitting. So in this case, again, the subject is there, the agent is not. All right? Politicians use this one constantly. Anytime there's a scandal, if you have to try and tell people bad news that you don't want to tell them, you naturally slip into passive structures. Think about the last political scandal you saw. The politicians make statements like, mistakes were made, right? Cash was embezzled. Interns were fondled. You have a bunch of kind of unpleasant information. We don't know who's doing that action. The agents are missing. And the politicians obviously do that because they're weasels and don't want to kind of own up to what they've done. You do the same thing with your parents maybe when you were younger and immature. Drinking happened at the party. Arrests were made. You start sliding into these kind of passives. So that's the first type. The agent is missing. The second type of passive is the agent is in the sentence, but it's not, the subject. Yes, the agent's in the sentence, but it's not the subject. And the example here would be, the ball was hit by him. Okay, in this case, the ball is still our subject, was hit is still our verb, but the him or he is the one who's actually doing the hitting. So in this case, again, there is an agent in the sentence, but it's not the subject. And again, think of this, it's passive because the subject is actually being passive. It's being acted upon by the verb. It's not doing the action. So the ball was hit by him instead of he hit the ball. All right, there are three weaknesses with passives that I want you to think about, stylistic weaknesses. Number one, passives are wordier. He hit the ball as 4 words, the ball was hit by him as 6 words. Now, 2 words is not going to kill you, showing up in the paper one time, 2 extra words. But if you think about this, if you instinctively write in passive structures, it's going to be wordier. And if you've got a 3-page paper and about a third of that is filler that you wrote because you wrote passive structures, that is not good. Second thing, there's a lack of clarity, which we just mentioned. Why do politicians use it? Why do you use it when you're in trouble? Because I don't want to know who's doing what. And so that generally makes for bland or confusing writing. All right, the third weakness is nominalization, which means the process of turning what could be a nice active verb into a noun form. And then the consequence of that is you end up using to be as your main verb in the sentence, some form of to be, is, are, was, were, and so on. So nominalized verbs, not always but often, will have an ION ending. So you'll have something like recognition, the noun, instead of recognize, the verb. Realization, the noun, instead of realize, the verb. Okay. Here's an example. There is anticipation of higher profits next quarter. If we look at that one grammatically, the verb is actually is, a form of to be, and the verb is hiding, the main verb action is really hiding in the noun form anticipation. That's hiding the main verb. Someone's anticipating something. Okay, and so it's hidden there because it's been nominalized. All right, let's look at how to fix passives, or how to turn passives into actives. 3-step process, fairly straightforward. Number one, when you look at a sentence that you realize is passive, you ask, what is the main verb that's happening in that sentence? In this case example, we just used is anticipate. Number two, ask who is doing that action. If the agent's there but is not the subject, you can move it around. If the agent's missing, you can insert the agent in there. And then number three, you rewrite the sentence, usually in a more traditional English syntax, which is subject, verb, object, order. So let's look at that example again. There is anticipation of higher profits next quarter. What's the verb that's hiding? Anticipate. Who is doing the anticipating? We don't know. Now, if I've been a politician and I've purposely said that, maybe I don't want my boss mad at me because if we don't have higher profits next quarter, all of a sudden he calls me into the office, or she, and says, what's with the higher profits that you promised next? And I say, hey, I didn't say I promised them. I say, it's on around the water cooler. People are talking about higher profits. Don't be a weasel. Step up and take your responsibility. Who is the agent who's doing that? I anticipate higher profits next quarter. Saves you a couple words as well. Or the CEO anticipates higher profits, or management anticipates higher profits. Put that person in there. Put an agent in to be doing that verb action. Okay? Let's look at a couple models and see how well you understand this. First one, the space heater was left unattended, causing the fire. Take a look at that. See how you would change that to active. Okay, if you look at that one, the main verb that I'm concerned with here is was left unattended. That's the main verb. Now, causing the fire makes sense, that it's the fact that we left the space heater unattended is what caused the fire. What we're looking at here is who left it unattended. And in this case, that's hard to see because the agent's missing. And so to make it, you would say the leaving it unattended is the verb. Put a noun in there for an agent to be in there, be doing that verb action. So Dad left the space heater unattended, causing the fire. Or Mom did it, or the babysitter did it, whoever. Someone doing that action is what we're shooting for. Okay, let's look at one last model. In that course, there was discussion, but no comprehension of the material. Take a second, maybe pause this if you want to for a moment, see how you would attack this one. Okay, our idea is here, there's actually two verbs that have been turned into nouns, and that is discussion instead of discuss, and comprehension instead of comprehend. So we've got two nominalized verbs. Again, you notice was, a form of to be, is our main verb. So we say, what are the actions? Discuss and comprehend. Who did them? And we put that into the sentence. And in fact, this is a good sentence to end on because it suggests the weakness of passive. It could be the same agent doing both of those verb actions. It might be different agents. So it could be, one solution might be, in that course, the students discussed but did not comprehend the material. Or it could be, in that class, the teacher discussed, but the students did not comprehend the material. It could even be, God help you, in that class, the teacher discussed, but did not comprehend the material. Right? In that case, the teacher's not doing a great job there if he or she doesn't understand it. But the point is, any one of those three sentences could actually be correct depending on who is the agent who's doing the action. And because that sentence was passive, left it out, we don't know which one of those it is. So let's hope that it's probably the second one is hopefully the most logical one. In that course, the students discussed but did not comprehend, or the teacher discussed but did not comprehend. We hope it's not the teacher and the agent for both of those. Okay? Remember, your main goal in your writing in terms of sentence structures that are passive or active, you want active because you want clear agents doing clear actions. Okay, that makes for good, exciting, clear, concise, strong writing. And our structure, remember, is 3 steps. Ask what is the verb action that's being hidden, who is doing it, and rewrite the sentence to reveal that.